Where was the worst place you've had to take a dump? I was running the San Antonio Marathon. I show up the morning of and I'm heading toward the starting line, but first I need to stop and unload. Well, the porta potties are a freaking zoo. The race starts in 5 minutes and there is no way I'm going to get through the line that quickly. There are several fast food places around and I try those, but the lines in there are just as long. So, I see a dumpster tucked away in a little area behind an Arbys and decide to squat behind that. Now, let me backtrack a bit. When you run a marathon, you will often get a little swag bag. It often has running related things in it and this particular bag had a pair of white gloves with a little Verizon symbol on it. I had the gloves with me because it was still early and a bit cold. So, I go behind the dumpster and what do I see? Several huge piles of crap and crap stained Verizon gloves littering the ground. Let's just say I added to the collection. Never shake hands with a distance runner who's only wearing one sock. A porta potty at a festival on a super hot day, and it had poo piled high above the water almost up to where the seat was. Used toilet paper all over. I had to do it. I squatted and was sweating like crazy from the heat and almost throwing up from the smell. In a plastic bag in my basement, someone was showering in our only bathroom and my neighbors were having a party outside so I couldn't go in my backyard. Went down to the basement and took a shopping bag with me, wrapped it in 2 more shopping bags after and nonchalantly walked it to the garbage bin in the back lane. I was 10 and my family was driving through some urban hellscape in the northeast. For some reason, I had to go bad, so we stopped at a McDonald's. My dad goes in with me and sends me into the bathroom on my own. One stall, and it's closed. I lean against the wall and wait, and wait, and wait. Like I said, it was a bad situation. I started making grunting noises as it all becomes too much, but before I crap my pants, the stall opens and this scary but homeless man with wild red eyes comes out and asks if I need the bathroom. I said yes please, and he let me go in. It smelled like death and stale tobacco. There was a pile of rancid clothes in the corner. I could virtually see the stink waves coming off of them. In the toilet, there were like 100 cigarette butts. Immediately alarm bells start going off but I have got to crap. I flush the cigarette toilet and sit down. I can hear the homeless guy shuffling around and breathing heavily outside the stall. It didn't all come out easy. After only a minute of sitting and pushing, I hear hey as the homeless guy starts pounding on the door. If only this had actually scared the crap out of me. I left my bag in there. Let me in. Don't touch my bag. Don't freaking touch my bag kid. I had no idea what to do. I opened the door and let him in. He went straight for the pile of clothes and pulled a bag out from underneath them. Thank God. He just grabbed the bag, apologized, and turned back around and left the stall. Even as a 10-year-old, I realized how stupid what I'd just done was. Pinched the loaf and left without even wiping. Frick that McDonald's, man. He for sure thought you flushed his dope. I mean I get it. His whole day would have been crappy because he let a 10-year-old crap in the stall he was shooting up in. At first I thought you were gonna say he sighed in the stall with you the whole time. In a bus in Laos, the bus had a rudimentary toilet installed, but the road was horrible. Huge potholes and bumps. So not only was the tiny stall gross as heck because everything was just splashing about, but occasionally a big splash of poo and pee would touch my butt and crotch as I was hovering over the hole. I had the runs, so I didn't have much choice but I did consider just crapping my pants and throwing it all out the window. In retrospect, that might have been the more hygienic option. A big splash of poo and pee would touch my butt and crotch as I was hovering over the hole. God, this is my worst fear. Just so frickin' ugh. My butthole just clenched reading this. Arbys women's bathroom. I'm a guy. I was driving to an early Saturday class when the urge hit strong. I screeched into the Arbys parking lot and ran from the car, leaving it parked diagonally across multiple spaces. Restroom doors were outside so I grabbed the men's room handle, locked, ran inside and yelled, "Men's room key!" Everyone in the place stopped and stared. Of course. The cashier told me the men's was occupied, said just use the women's, so I ran back out and into the women's room. The dump started before I could sit all the way down, so I sprayed the back of the seat in the wall. Now I know how that happens in public restrooms. Then I had a mega mess of whippage. Meanwhile, poor ladies who needed to pee kept innocently tapping on the door, only to hear my deep voice shouting occupied. When people knock on the door, I like to say, "Come in." In my boyfriend's parents' driveway, I got the feeling, and I wasn't loving the idea of using their toilet, which is located very close to the family room where we were all sitting, and signaled to my boyfriend that it was time to get going. We only live 5 minutes away, so we left, but I had unfortunately misread my signals and had to go now. Cue me violently crapping at the end of their rural driveway while apologizing profusely. My boyfriend said nothing while he fished around in the glove box for some napkins, and I was mortified. All's well that ends well though. He married me and occasionally uses the story for casual blackmail if I'm being a twit. A man's bathroom in a little cafe. Story. I went into a little cafe that had 2 little bathrooms. One was for men and the other was for women. One toilet and a sink was behind each door, so they were 1-person bathrooms. The women's bathroom was occupied and it was a dire emergency for me because I was about to diarrhea all over the place. For the last hour I had been having incredible indigestion pains that always happen before I have diarrhea. I couldn't wait any longer, so I went ahead to the men's bathroom and proceeded to crap my brains out, stinking up the whole place. I was in there for a good 5-10 minutes. I finished, washed my hands, and opened the door to a line of 4 men and 3 women all waiting to use the 2 bathrooms. My face turned bright red because I'm not a man, and I just stunk up the men's bathroom with horrible diarrhea. I didn't even end up buying anything at the cafe because I just wanted to get out of there quickly and quietly. No shame in using the wrong bathroom in an emergency. I've done it before. I was just getting to know a guy I eventually dated for a while. We went with the mutual friend out to eat at Applebees. 2 hours later he's asking if I want to come in. As I go to get out, my stomach lets me know I'm in serious trouble out of literally nowhere. Make up an excuse and pull off quickly to another street and crap in a goddamn cup in front of someone's house. Frick you Applebees. In a hole in a Chinese bathroom in Beijing. The floor was wet, so my shorts got wet with what was most likely pee or some kind of sewage. There weren't even handlebars to brace while holding my butt over the hole, so I had to push my shorts out of the way of my butt so as not to crap on my pants. The cold air rising from the hole felt very uncomfortable on my butt. Oh yeah, and no toilet paper, so I had to text my girlfriend at the time to bring me some toilet paper. Apparently everyone carries TP around and I didn't get the memo. Carrying TP is like China Trip 101. Was taking a walk with my husband in the woods, Alaska, so everything was the woods, on a path next to a railroad track. I realized I had to go, so we turned around to head back home. It soon became apparent that there was no way I was getting home, so I ducked behind a bush to take a squat. Mid-poo I looked up to find 3 very surprised railroad workers looking at me. I smiled and waved. They nodded and waved. My husband waved. They gave him a hello. We all found something on the ground to study and I continued my epic poo. Epic. I work in construction and one time I had to go so bad that I did it in a box under the stairs in the basement of a house I was working in. Unfortunately it was the same time the homeowner and their young daughter came on the job site to check the house and decided to check out the basement. Need to know their reactions. My mum taught at the same high school I went to and she was staying late for a meeting on a Friday night, so I was allowed to go and wait in her office. A few hours later, I became busting for a poo and ran to the closest building with toilets. It had been locked up. I realized that most buildings would be now locked up as it was 6 PM on a Friday and I was desperate, so I squatted behind one of the portable classrooms and pooed. On Monday at assembly we were told to watch out for wild dogs at the school and I'm pretty sure my poo was the reason for this. Worst place. I got runny diarrhea in the middle of a 3-mile running trail in the middle of the woods. I had to find a secluded spot to wander off the beat track and let it go. And of course I couldn't wipe properly, so I had to walk awkwardly all the way back home. You gotta commit and let that hot trophy slide down your thighs. That is how everyone else knows you are a true casual jogger. When I was in the fire academy we only had set bathroom breaks and about 10 minutes to do it in. There was roughly 40 of us in 2 stalls, so usually a line of about 20 people waiting to poop. You would wait your turn, sit on the hot seat, and crap. Honestly, after a few weeks you got used to it, but it wasn't great. I always cover the seat with toilet paper in public restrooms. I can't sit on the seats knowing how many strangers have sat bare-assed and pee on it. Driving back from Denver to Minneapolis. Stopped in some godless no-name gas station somewhere in Nebraska and had no other choice but to go then and there. It looked like 50 different people with Arbys had used it before me and there were spider webs throughout the bathroom. Literally watched a cockroach run by my foot. The dude at the register was the only person in the gas station and if he wasn't drunk he was on H. Oh hey, I live in Nebraska. The summer following the Lake Placid Olympics, my family was vacationing in upstate New York, visiting relatives. Mostly, people were allowed to explore the Olympic venues, such as walking the luge and bobsled runs. A 10-year-old me was very excited to run up and down the luge run, so much so, in fact, that the pressing need in my abdomen was ignored, until it was too late. The solution my furious father came up with was to have me remove my shorts and underwear, use them as best I could to wipe the backs of my legs, and chuck them over the side, into the woods. He then had me remove my t-shirt and use it as a makeshift wrap around my waist to conceal my privates as I shuffled to the parking lot, sobbing. Good times. R.I.P. Dad. The thought of you having to leave the Olympic venue with your shirt wrapped around your privates made me absolutely lose it. During the SAT at my high school all the bathrooms were closed. 5 minutes before the test began I got the urge. I literally ran around the entire school but I couldn't find an open bathroom. So I ran behind my school near the soccer fields, did a wall sit on a building and let loose. However, to my horror I noticed that in between the buildings in front of me I could clearly see a girls' soccer game on in full play. They could, potentially, see me too, if they looked. Thankfully I don't think anyone saw me. I had to use leaves to wipe myself up but it wasn't a clean job. And the leaves had little berries on them. Had to sit in my own crap for 4 hours. The smell was bad the whole time. I got a 1300 on that test, old version. Worst day of my life. On a roller coaster. I thought I'll ride this then go poo after ride got stuck for over an hour in the middle of the track. It was absolutely terrible, I almost crapped myself. If it got stuck for like 5 minutes I would just announce to the whole cart I'm probably going to crap my pants and I'll jump before it happens. Just in case you all wonder why a dude is plummeting to his death. In a bathroom somewhere in Albuquerque at the Greyhound bus station, there was trash everywhere, people sleeping on the floor and the toilets weren't flush. That didn't stop people from using them. It was horrible. I felt bad contributing but that gas station food I ate from Troy, New York all the way to New Mexico was not waiting anymore. And I would have used the bus stall, but there was always some tweaker in there and I note that. Innisfree in New Orleans during 2014-2015 New Year's games between Alabama and Ohio State. There was no door so many dudes were just watching me take a crap and the toilet paper was on the floor, where apparently every guy chose to pee. I didn't care. I was drunk as frick and grabbed the urine-soaked TP and wiped what I could. Washed my hands and then went to a cleaner, classy bathroom to complete my mission. I'm pretty sure there's still a crap stain in those blue undies I was wearing that night. This is like some nightmare level crapping. Stop behind a bank after hours. It was late, nothing nearby was open, and I had floodwaters pounding on my sphincter. Squatted in the grass next to my car and did my best to clean up with some spare napkins I kept in my glove compartment. I have a first aid pack, fire extinguisher, jumper cables, a Leatherman and a flashlight in my car. Looks like I need some good old toilet paper too. IDK if it was the worst. Most inventive in a pot of soil in a garage after my landscaping job was over. Crappy job and boss and no bathroom so in the pot of dirt and covered it a bit then I threw it in a ditch outside. A story told to me. A man I know in some kind of sales visited a company for an appointment. He got there before they had opened and was sweating it. No bathrooms for miles around. So he pops a squat in his nice suit, on the outer reaches of the parking lot hidden between his car and some hedges. He gets done, sorts himself out, gets back in his car and moves his car to park close to the front. Once the place opens, He enters and signs in. He uses their restroom to freshen up. After a while, several people have made it into work and he goes to the meeting to do his presentation. One of the late attendees says, "Hey, I found a wallet in the parking lot. I think it might be yours." My friend thanked him and it dawned on him the guy found the wallet where it fell out of his pocket right next to a big pile of crap. My 15th birthday, my parents took me to Six Flags. We did the drive-through safari, but my stomach really starting hurting. By the time we were done driving through the safari and had parked, my stomach was killing me. As soon as I stepped out of the truck, my intestines rumbled hard. I looked at the huge line to get into the park, then looked across from me at a patch of woods. The choice was made for me when my intestines audibly rumbled and my rectum sent an emergency message to my brain: I can't hold on much longer. I sprinted into the woods, squatted and got my pants down just in time to leave a large mountain of soft stool in the shrubbery. While looking for something to wipe with, I used leaves. I found a marijuana pipe, which was cool. Later that day I got my Zippo blatantly stolen by a giant cross-dressing black man who asked for a light. I was too afraid to say anything. It was a wild day. Was in summer camp and had a bad case of liquid diarrhea. Ran behind a cabin and let it rip. I wasn't the only one that heard my butt finder since there was a whole group of kids playing with water balloons on the other side of the cabin. Wasn't long before I was caught with brown ankles and squatting behind the cabin. Imagine falling back into your own pool, crying, and being pelted by water balloons at the same time. I can smell it to this day. Straight out of a movie. My condolences. At a parking lot, I jumped in the nearby bushes, crap over the edge and watched it roll down the small hillside. I also found a 20 that day. That was a good day. Oh. In my backyard, squatting against the side of the garage during a thunderstorm a couple of days after giving birth to my firstborn. The nurse didn't tell me the laxatives they sent me home with. Do they still do that after you have a baby? Would work really quickly and much more effectively than any laxative has a right to. And we lived in a house with one bathroom, which my husband had already commandeered. And it was either crap in the kitchen sink or go out and crap in the rain. At least it was dark out. In Italy, after going to see some statue involving a marble penis, got back to the train station and had to take a crap. Got into the bathroom and it was a big open room with holes in the floor and no toilet paper. Don't expect that in a first world country. Dude walked in on me with my pants down post squat crap while I was splashing water on my butt in the sink to clean off. Welcome to Italy, especially down south. I work very hard to not use public toilets when there. Italians call them Turkish toilets if I recall correctly. Went out camping with a school group. We arrive at the location and I needed to take a crap after the long drive. I look around the desert and see no cover, just small to medium rocks, not big enough to hide behind. After expressing to my classmates my curse of nowhere good to take a crap, one of them tells me there is actually a bathroom by those rocks. I look in that direction and see just more rocks. No bathroom in sight. I tell him I don't see anything, to which he replies, just got over and see. I trek over to this strange rock formation and see a gap in the rocks. I go into this gap and am faced with a pristine porcelain toilet between the rocks. It had running water and TP and everything. There was no door and the rocks on either side were just big enough to cover the head of whoever occupied the throne. It was actually a quality crapping experience, but what made it awful was that no one who wasn't on that trip believed us when we told the story. TLDR. Actual toilet in the middle of a rock formation. No one believed me. I'm imagining you going back there and there's no toilet, as if it had never been. It's like the bathroom of requirement of something. Ouistreham, France. While waiting for the bus to Caen, I had to crap. Saw a public toilet across the way. Run. Crap. Realize there's no toilet paper. Hop over to the sink. No paper towels. Frick it. I'll use my bare hand. No soap. Clean off my paw as best I can while waiting for the bus. My old lady starts rubbing my crap hand, telling me how much she loves me. I stay quiet. I'm a coward. So a little backstory. I was on holiday in Japan, and I don't know what caused it, but Japan brought out the absolute worst in my bowels. I'm talking pure liquid, jetting out of me. So, I'd been drinking and I'm wandering around Shinjuku looking for another butt to hit up. This is probably around 3 AM or so, and I all of a sudden get the worst stomach cramps and I know I gotta go. So I start walking into any building still open with my basic as frick Japanese asking for a toilet. No luck. I decide my best bet is to quickly make my way back to the train station because there's a toilet there. Power walking begins. About 2 minutes in, I know I have to run because this bad boy isn't going to wait. So I'm absolutely sprinting through Shinjuku, sweating like crazy with the worst cramps. I get into the toilet and it's just a hole in the ground. I had no time. Pants came down. By the time they were at my knees, my bowels had already released and I'd only managed a half squat. The burning ringer of liquid feces that propelled from my butt was devastating. The floor and wall were blasted with it. Finished my business with a sense of relief and then found they had no soap. I'm sorry, Japanese janitor that had to clean up my mess. I hiked Mt. Whitney. We did it up and back in a day. It's 11 miles from the portal to summit, so a long day of walking. This is planned out months in advance. We purchased passes from the forest ranger to do it, and they require you to carry a wag bag, basically a bag to crap in, because this is carry it out nature area. You're required to take this with you. Well, I make it to the top okay, but as soon as we start making our way down, I gotta go. I'm 10 miles from the nearest outhouse, and about 6,000 feet above the tree line, so I'd be crapping behind a rock. I decide to hold it all the way down. 5 hours of butt clench walking. The worst part is when I got to the outhouse. I know I took what had to be the biggest dump of my life, but alas, I didn't get to look at it because it fell into the dark abyss. This a copy and paste reply I made on another comment. Enjoy. This one always gets my buddies laughing. So, 20-something me and my buddies are going out to a club. On the way down, we stop and get some Taco Bell, get to one of the guys' place to pre-game and eat, and then we all head out. We all kinda separate at the club, but I run into everyone every 5 or 10 minutes since I'm kinda just hanging at the bar. As my friends are coming to get drinks, I ask them if anyone else is having issues with their stomach, and I get to know from everyone. Here's where my adventure begins. I'm trying to maintain and just relax, telling myself that my stomach will be fine. But no, my digestive tract had other plans for me that night. I get that gurgle in my gut, the one that means, hey buddy, you've got a minute to get to the bathroom, or else you're going to regret it. I get to the bathroom, passing one of my friends on the way. He asks if I'm okay, and I just gave him a look of desperation. He laughs and says good luck. So there is one stall. One dang stall. Lucky for me it's open, but I soon found out why. The previous occupant had left their business floating in the toilet. I go to flush, and all heck breaks loose. The water comes up and does not stop. I've got sweat on my lip from holding in my own crap, and I tell myself, let's just get this over with. I turn to lock the door, and see there is no lock. Great. Gut gurgles again. It's now a crap in your pants. So I drop my pants slowly, not letting them touch the waterfall that is the toilet. Stand on my toes so the bottoms don't get soaked. Hold the door shut with one hand, and balance myself with the other, while hovering over a floating turd. I let loose, praying that the still overflowing toilet doesn't spill any crap. I finish up, wipe, and duck out of this stall that is now going to be some poor guy's nightmare. Told my buddies on the way home and they couldn't stop laughing and telling me that I now have the most epic crap story ever. Oh man, I've been waiting for this. A campground outside of Columbus, Ohio. In the bathroom was a mountain of crap. I was a teenager on one of those cross-country bus tours and I hadn't crapped for 3 days. It was bad. It hurt. Felt like stones in my intestines. But finally, we arrived at a campsite that had plumbing. It was a standalone building like you see at some parks. One side men, one side women, yellow tiles, dimly lit, 2 toilet stalls, 2 shower stalls. The showers were controlled by a light switch outside the stall, just on and off. Cold, a rubber mat had a razor blade embedded in it in one stall. The toilets had no doors, just open, a foot in from the door. There was a brick wall between them. One had a light above it. The inner more one, shadowed from light, did not. I needed to crap, badly, and nobody was by the shadowed one. There was a line for the showers, and I walked towards it. I was too close when I saw it, and smelled it. The mountain of poo. It was easily a foot and a half above the bowl. Just a peak of crap in the darkness. A maddening horror that you can't see until it's too late. Dried from age, you can't smell it from far enough out. It was awful. I gagged. What's worse is that means multiple people had to find a way to get on top of this completely full pile of crap. Then crap on top of it. This was now several feet off the ground. What the frick? Frick Columbus, Ohio. Port Sarjan in the middle of Camp Buhan, Kuwait around 2 p.m. High traffic area, so heavily used. Hot as heck. Would not recommend. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.